Cool. All right. So what I'm going to show you guys really quick is, so you're going to have finished your, hopefully today, your timeline of your animation essentially. Okay. So obviously the stuff that we saw in the book, this is a slightly different version of the book because this is the one that I've built. You've done your rough timelines like these. Okay. That's what we've done now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you then get this information into Flash and how you animate and how it's going to work. And I'm going to show you really, really quickly, but you'll see how easy it is to actually do it. I'm also going to be using, just for the sake of argument, a Wacom tablet, okay, which is this graphic tablet here. Have you guys used this yet?
Never.
Never, cool. So what it is, it's essentially, it's a tablet that I draw onto and it comes straight onto the computer like I would be drawing on paper. All right, so it allows me to be a lot more detailed because, you know, if you use the mouse, it's kind of, if you're left-handed or right-handed, you know, it's hard to kind of get that detail. So this is just like drawing a pen and paper on a computer. So I'm going to use this. So we're going to do a combination of using the Wacom tablets and using the mice. Mouses? Mices? Is it mices if you're talking about using the mouse?
Computer mice.
Yeah, that'll work. Those things with the little thingy, we're going to use those. All right, so when you get into Flash, and again, I'll explain this all next week when I come around one-on-one and helping you. But we're going to do a thing called an action script too. All right, and what we've got here is, that's essentially, think of that like your camera screen, okay? So, you know, think of media, how we have our video screen that we film from. That's kind of it there. There's our camera screen. And over here is our library. So think of your library as like all your props and everything you're going to make. So if you've got, in your timeline, you've got an eyeball that blinks, and you've got a sun that smiles, and you've got a cloud that has lightning come out of it, they're all individual elements that are going to, you know, slowly come across and appear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make one of these. So we go into New, and we make this thing called a symbol, and that's, each symbol is each little drawing that you're going to do. So for the sake of this one, I might call it boy. And it's a movie clip, so you just leave that by default, and then you click enter. And now you're in another area altogether. And if you look down here, pretty much like Photoshop, you know, you've got a pen, you've got an eraser, you've got a drawing tool, and that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to just go and bring on that, and I'm going to draw myself. Whoops. So it's kind of tricky doing two things at once because I'm a lefty. All right, I'm going to draw myself a little guy here. Okay. So you can see as I draw, it's pretty much exactly as you draw on a bit of paper. So I'm filming this little Wacom bit as well, so I'll put them together and make one video. Okay, yay. There he is there, really quickly. Okay, oh, what a good looking guy. Pupils, thanps. Always like the input, Angus. There we go. And I'm just going to change this color to peachy color, and I'm going to, whoops, fill it in there. Now, can you see how it's got in the eye?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember when we were doing Photoshop, we were doing that fill. If you don't close the shape completely, it becomes part of it. So what's happened here is with that eye, I haven't closed it. So it's going, if I zoom in, it's coming through there. Okay, so that's what you've got to be careful about too when you draw this stuff. You've got to make sure that they're all closed shapes. So when you go and fill the color in, that won't happen. So I'll just go back to my pen, okay, and I'll just close that. There we go. And I'll just close that over there as well. Oops. Done. Okay, so now if I do this and we pick our color and we fill them in, there we go. Problem solved. Now also I need to fill that white in too, because by default that'll have nothing behind it. So I'm going to fill one eye in, and I'm going to leave the other one so you see what happens. All right, and there we go. That's filled in as well, and that'll do for now. Let's give him a shirt. So it looks like that's all closed, but we'll find out, and we'll make his shirt red. Beans. Now you can see there that's not closed. If I wanted to fill that in, it won't work because that's not closed. So again, if you're trying to fill a color in and it's not working, it's because it's open like there. All right. Anyway, there's our guy. We've drawn him. We're done. And now down here, this is the timeline. Okay. And what you've got is, we'll make this 30 frames a second. So generally in animation or in anything that you do, 1 second has 30 individual frames in it. So if you watch a cartoon of, I don't know, The Simpsons, okay? In 1 second of The Simpsons, if you see a character walk, someone's drawn 30 individual drawings in 1 second, okay, to do that. We're not going to stress about doing that many because we'll go insane. So what we're going to do is maybe 1 or 2 frames a second. Okay, so if it's 30 frames in 1 second, at 15, okay, what you do is now put another one of these keyframes. So insert a keyframe. So Ashley, they're probably words that you know, I'm guessing, from your stop motion stuff. So I put in a keyframe there, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and change this guy around a little bit. So I'm going to get the eraser, and I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, gone. I'm going to get rid of his hands here. Get rid of this hand. Cool. And now I'm just going to do some other stuff. I'm going to start drawing. So that eyedropper, like Photoshop, if you pick that, it then picks the color for you. So a lot of these tools are the same as in Photoshop. I'll just color that bit in there. I'll then go back to my black and bring that down. Oh, he's depressed. He's like that guy that kept getting hit by cars yesterday. That was depressing.
That was so sad.
I know.
Hit by a car?
The guy got hit by a car like. If you got hit by a car like 3 times, you just take taxis. You wouldn't walk. So now there's our second frame. Okay, I'm just going to turn that off. And so now we can see real simple 2 frames there. Now that's half a second. So when we go back to 30 frames, which is our full second, and we don't need to animate again, we can copy this. So I'm going to copy that frame and put it in frame 30 and paste that in. And now that's our animation. Like we saw in that song, that just simple 2 frames of animation going back and forth. Okay, really, really simple. Okay, and that's done. That's in our library. And what we'll do, and I'll do another one in a second, is you'll fill this library up with all the little elements that you're going to use in your animation. So we haven't even started animating yet. Now, if
So 30 seconds is a minute.
30 frames is 1 second. Okay?
Change that though, can I?
Yeah, you can change it so you show 1 frame a second if you want, but it'll be really jolty. All right. Now, if we go back to our scene, we're back to this area here, which is the camera. Okay? Now, if I get this little fella and I drop him in, there he is there. Okay? Now, I can change the size of him. I can make him bigger. I can make him taller. You can do this kind of stuff because these are vectors, so they keep their shape. All right, and there he is there. Now, if I hit that, there's our animation. And it's just going to repeat because that's what a movie clip is. It's just a repeating cycle because we said that's all he does. And that's it. He's done. He's sitting in there. Now, that's obviously pretty boring. So now you can animate this guy in here as well. So let's say we wanted to make him move across the screen. So I'm going to move him over here. So it's kind of tricky to do 2 things at once, but I'll give it a go. I'm going to move him across here. So he's off the screen and he's got a keyframe there. And I'm going to move him over here.
You can see the eyes work.
Exactly. That's why I left 1. And at frame 30, I'm going to put him here and I'm going to put in another keyframe. So over here, frame 1, insert keyframe. Okay, so he's there and then he's there. All right, but see what I've done there? So now I'll step back. Okay, so we've got 2 frames, 1 there and 1 there at the end of the second. So at the start he's here and at the end he's here. Now, if we were doing hand-drawn animation, like cartoons, we would have to draw in every single one of these frames from 1 to 30, we would have to draw him a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and you'd have to draw every single one of those. Okay? 30 images of him moving from left to right. But we don't have to do that because it's on computer. All we need to do is we right-click this thing here and we put in what's called a tween. And what it does is it's smart enough to go, all right, so at this frame you're here, and at this frame you're here, I'm going to do the in-betweening. And there he goes. So there's our animation. But you can see he's not doing anything. So remember we made that movie clip, so if I hit enter, there he goes. So he's doing his action, and he's going to keep repeating that, and he's just moving from left to right. Now he's doing it really quick, because there's 30 frames in a second. So in 1 second, he's shooting across that frame. And there's your animation there. Really, really simple. So that's all you're going to be doing. But the difference is, I've got 1 second here. You're probably going to have 3 minutes. So what you want to do is you want to bring your song into this first, because it'll be a lot easier than trying to guess where this stuff goes. So I'm going to do a new layer, and I'm going to find a song, which happens to be the song that we all know, and you're going to bring that into your library. There we go. Okay, so now our song's here. So this is why you all need your song, because that's what you're going to animate from. There's our song, ready to go, and then we're going to drop that in here. Hopefully it'll work straight away. Or it might take a second. I'll fast forward this so the video's not as boring. Go. There we go. Okay, so we've dropped our song in. And so our song's going to play in the background now too. But what we'll do is if you put your song in first, and then what you'll do is you'll jump down to the seconds, and you'll know what part of your song that you want to drop something in. So if, let's say, at 20 seconds it talks about an eyeball, then you jump here to 20 seconds, and then you drop your eyeball in. Does that kind of make sense? Like, you've got your song to animate to, so you know where you're going. If not, you're going to just be sitting there. So if I play this, it's repeating, because it's only playing that first second of the song. All right. So you want to put your song in, go all the way to the end of your song, and put another frame, and then play it back that way, and then you've got your song, and then you'll start dropping that stuff in. So that kind of make sense. It'll make more sense when you're playing around with it. So look, let me show you. Let me do something else. Let me do another one. I'm going to go to I'm going to go all the way to here. Insert a keyframe. All right. So now you can see there's still more of my song. So now if I hit play, so my song's still going, but obviously I've only got that one animation only went for a second, and so the song can keep playing. So now, let's say I want to go to frame. All right, let's go here, which is 6.6 seconds. All right, it talks about an eyeball. All right, so let's do that. We'll go to our library. We do a new symbol, so what we did before. New movie clip, and I'm going to call it eye. And now we draw the image that we want to see. So I'm going to quickly draw an eyeball. Let me try and... Okay. And there. It's an eyeball.
It looks like the sun.
It's an eye. Don't pick on my eyeball! Alright.
It's going to be like, don't mess with my
And now I'm going to... Yeah, it will. Don't you mess with my eyeball. We fill the eye in there, and we want to make, obviously, the inside of the eye white. No computers, sorry guys. No, see you later. And we then want to go and make the inside of that pupil black. No, Ben, seriously, out. See ya, mate. Alright, and so now we've got our eye at the start, and let's make this blink a little bit. So let's say at frame 30.
Where's the island?
Sorry?
Where's the island?
Well, it hasn't blinked yet. It's getting there. Audrey?
With the song, how did I delete that onto the computer?
So you'll need an MP3 of it, essentially.
Okay, cool.
If you're stuck, I mean, you can either... No, we won't do that. You can buy it from iTunes, and then I'll help you get it on there. Okay, awesome. Now let's move on. So let's go to at frame 30, we want this eye to close. Okay, so same as last time, we insert a keyframe, and now we want to close this eye. So let's go to the old eraser, and bye-bye, eyeball. Okay, it'll make sense in a second. And we'll get the pen here, and we'll draw our eyelashes. All right, so now if we play that back, the eye's open and it's closed. So that kind of looks like a blink. So that's done in 2 frames, but let's say we want to spend a little bit more time and we put in another frame. We can put in a frame here. So we've got open, close, and it kind of works. But if we spend a bit more time and go into the middle of that and insert another keyframe, and now what we'll do is we'll go to our eraser. Exactly, just do half of it. So we're going to erase just half. So you can see all I'm doing, it's kind of like the stuff when you were kids, you know, you just to draw on paper and just draw a little cartoon. That's all we're doing. There we go. So now it's half closed. There's our eyelashes back. And now if we play that back, so now that kind of looks a bit better, yeah? And imagine if we had a stack of time. In here, we would have it a quarter closed, and then here it would be a quarter, you know what I mean? So the more time you have, the more detailed this will be. And this is exactly how animation works. They spend a stack of time and draw really small detail in each of these frames, frame by frame by frame by frame by frame. So now if we want this eye to open, what we'll do is that we'll copy that frame where it was open, so we don't have to redraw it. We copy that frame, and then I'm going to make this go for 2 seconds. And I'm going to paste that frame in. So now we've got almost closed, closed, and then open. But we want to have this one again, so we copy the frame where it's half closed, copy frame, and I'll put that at, say, 45, paste frame, and now when we play that one back, it's going to be almost closed and then almost open. Cool, done. So there's now our eye's done. So now if we go back to our scene, and we say, right, there we go, let's say at 3.3 seconds, the song talks about an eye. So what we do is do a new layer, and we go to this eye here, and we insert in a keyframe. Well, actually, what I might do is I'll just drag my eyeball in there and insert a keyframe. And so now my eye is going to be there doing its job. But you can see it's here at the start too. So we don't want it there. We want to get rid of it. So we get it out. We go back to where we want it to go, which is here. So you can see our eye's there now, because that's where we put it. We put a keyframe, so we said we only want it to appear there, and then we deleted it from the rest of the timeline. So now, if we play this back, we should have our guy, then a few seconds of nothing, because we've got nothing there. All right, and then at 3.3 seconds, our eye should appear and hopefully blink. Hopefully. Let's try it. Okay. And that's done. And same deal. If you only want your eye there for a few seconds, it only needs to be there for a few seconds, then you go to, I don't know, let's go to there. That's 4.5. Now we'll go to a little bit further. I'm going to go all the way up to here, 6.6. Insert another keyframe. So it knows, all right, I've got to be there. And then after that frame, you delete him. And then he's gone. So then he's only going to be there for that range of frames. So again, we play this back. And at 3 seconds, you should come in, blink, and that's going to keep repeating that. Now he's gone. So that's your animation. Yep.
Does the eye need to be in a different layer to the boy?
No, it doesn't. It can be in the same layer. You can have everything on the same layer. But it's just, I like to work with more layers. It's a little bit easier in case you want to change stuff around. It's always easier, you know, but it doesn't have to be. Now, I'll quickly go back to that one last thing that we did at the very start. So that eye, now this is an important thing. So see how I've coloured one eye in, I filled one eye in, the other eye I didn't. Now this is why it's important. So we've been working with one thing at a time. But if I put my eyeball, I want them to both be here at the same time. Now if I move that across, this is where your layers are important. So because that's on a different layer, he's going to be on top of that character. So he goes under it. You might not want that. You might want him going over the eye. Okay? So then you bring that layer down, just like you would in Photoshop. And now he's over the eye. But see how I didn't fill in one of those eyes? So it's showing what's under it. So this is why it's important you need to fill in, like you need to colour everything in essentially. Because if you don't, it'll see through to the bottom layer and just look like, it looks like I've just punched him in the face. Bang, bang, all right? And that's how it works. And that's why you do layers, so you can move this around. Because you might, Rubes, decide that actually you don't want the eye to be above the boy. And if it's on a separate layer, it's just a matter of moving it. And that's it. And off we go. So this is what you guys need to do. This is going to be the tricky part. You've got your timeline now, okay? And in there you've got a house, an eyeball, a boy, a dog, a manly jacket. And you want to spend all the time now, and you want to fill up your library with all these elements. So we're not going to worry about this animation part for a little while yet. So you're just going to keep going in here and just building all these elements. So I want to do another one. All right, what can I do? What's my next thing I need to have in here?
A guy doing a backflip.
That's quicker and easier that I can do in a couple of seconds.
Cloud. A chicken flying.
I'm gonna go cloud because that's easier. All right, so we've got a cloud. Same deal. Now you just got to sit here, draw your cloud, black cloud.
Does everything have to have a black outline, or can you have
No, you can have a coloured outline if you want to. There's your cloud. We'll fill that in. Okay, and then at frame, clouds can be blue.
It looks like a teddy.
looks like you?
It looks like a butterfly.
Do a cloud with smiley faces.
I will. All right. Anyway, let's not talk about the clouds. So there's our cloud. At frame 15, always remember, you need to do this keyframe thing. Think of a keyframe like a snapshot. So there's our snapshot. Now we want a new snapshot here, and I'm going to draw some, oh, whoopsie. I'm going to, there we go, draw some lightning bolts coming out of my blue clouds. Well, that's kind of accurate.
That's a good light.
It's a very good lightning bolt. And again, you can either colour it in, like you would a drawing, or just use the fill tool, and then you know it's filled. It's filled. All right. So now this one is lightning coming in, and that's it. And then at frame 30, we go back by copying that frame because we want it to animate between the two. So we copy the frame, and we go to frame 30, and we paste it in, and now we have.
So that's only 1 second.
Yep.
That.
That's it. But because this is a movie clip, this keeps repeating. So the thing is, once you drop this cloud into your scene, you don't have to worry about animating it ever again because you've done that animation. So if you wanted to animate a person walking, all right, so let's say my little guy, he just dragged across the screen. If I made a movie clip where at 1 second his legs were forward and they were back, and then his arms were forward and their arms were back, if I put him into the scene, when he moves across, he'll be walking because those legs will animate. So I'll come help you guys individually for stuff like that because we can get really detailed, but I don't want to bog you all down with it. I'll help you individually for smaller stuff like that. But anyway, there's our cloud. So we go back to our scene. Now we've got a cloud there. That same deal. We can dump our clouds in there, change the size of them, plonk them over here. And there we go. It's like a, I don't know, it's like a, and the eye, and the guy's missing an eyeball. Yeah, maybe this is my life. This is my life. Someone picked on my jacket and it all went downhill. It reminds me of a painting, actually. It's kind of like a Dali painting. Anyway, so that's it. That's what we're doing. So once you guys, today we're done. We've finished off timelines. So we'll get into Flash and you'll start making all these elements. So I would stick to that just 2 frames. Okay, I'm happy for you to do more. Like our eye, we only put 1 extra frame in there, but it worked pretty well. So it all comes down to time that you've got, but you need to fill this up with all the things that you do. Now, one last thing too, because these are separate to the scene, let's say you go back in, you've done your animation, your eye, oh, that's perfect. I love exactly where my eye is. I don't want that to change. But, I want to change the color of the eye. The good thing is you just go back to the eye, and you can just change the color in here, and it'll then automatically change on your animation. So let's say with the eyelid closed, I really wanted to, I don't know what I'm going to do right now. Yeah, let's really make this get a bit weirder, because that's what we're here for. Here, and then inside it, there's like, I don't know, a love heart? All right, a love heart, just for you, Angus. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Oh, he loves me.
I do, Angus. It's the voice. Okay, and so now we've made that small change. If we go back to our scene, it's there. So we don't have to change it. It's a weird song. All right.
What is this song?
This is the song that we use as the demo, and that's it. So, I mean, even if I do say for myself, that looks pretty good. Like, that's pretty profesh, and that's everything you can do. So, Wacom tablets are good fun. These are here just to play with, really, because you can get this. For this, what we're doing, the mouse is going to work pretty good too. And that's it. So yeah, we'll finish today doing our timelines, and then next class, I reckon we'll have to spend a couple of classes just filling this whole library out with all our stuff, and with just those 2 frames. That's it. One back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we'll put it together. We'll do our animation. So you all need your songs by next week. So just download them all from iTunes and have them ready for next week, and we'll be sorted. Cool beans.